Hello and welcome to all our viewers. This is a new episode of our program Story of Success. Each time we'll be bringing you compelling and inspiring profiles. Each story gets us closer to people who have the power to bring in change, make a difference. We'll be bringing you the full story behind the name. This is Story of Success with me, Rani Isaac. Today we're still with Dr. Huda Bashari, one of the famous names in nuclear physics in Egypt, to know more details about her life, her achievements, and keys to her success. Dr. Huda Bashari, first of all, I'd like to know what got you into nuclear physics?
Well, that was like a long time ago. I was like in the 5th grade, and then my father was a scientist. He was a chemist, and he took me on a trip. And then at that time, he was working in the syndicate of scientific.
Isn't it a little bit strange for a woman to be involved in such?
No, actually, I will show you maybe among my stuff when I was in the school that I wanted to be a nuclear physicist. So on the 5th grade trip, I returned from that trip, and my dad took me in the afternoon in the Egyptian syndicate of scientific profession, and they had a program on nuclear science and the high dam. So I told my dad, would the high dam be sufficient for Egypt when I grow up? He said, no, maybe probably we will need others, but we don't have water resources. So I asked him, so what can Egypt do that? He told me maybe have nuclear reactors like the States and France. I was very young. I was 10 at that time. I said, okay, I will build one. And then I decided to be a physicist and a nuclear physicist in order to build a power plant for Egypt in order to have electricity in the villages.
But before we go ahead, I'd like to stress upon maybe nuclear physics for some of our viewers sounds a little bit strange or odd. What's nuclear physics?
Nuclear physics is the science dealing with the nucleus, which is the tiniest part of the atom, and the atom is the smallest constituent of the matter. So if we have anything made like this table, this is made out of atoms, and the atoms are different from one substance to another.
The nucleus is in the center of the atom.
It is the center, and it is made out of protons and neutrons. So this is when two nuclei meet or collide, they create energy either by fission or fusion, or just a neutron hits the nucleus. So this creates energy, and this is the biggest energy that we can get on Earth from the fission or the fusion. It's like the behavior of the sun.
This is what's meant by nuclear physics.
So
this energy
the biggest nuclear reactor that we have is the sun.
All the applications result from this collision?
All applications, not all applications, there are two types, but the type that is known and we can use as a technology is the fission nuclear reactors, or the fission of nuclei, or the disintegration of nuclei. In medical physics, or the therapy for cancer, we use the disintegration of nuclei in order to do the diagnostics, or also the emission. We use the energy to kill the cancer cells released from the nuclei.
Okay, if you go ahead, what got you into nuclear physics?
So it was the dream of building a nuclear reactor. Then I continued in the preparatory school. I was in a French school, so I was very talented in art and music, and even history. And I didn't know. Everybody kept telling me, just don't go to the science department, the science section. you will not live like a girl.
It's so hectic.
Yes, it is so hectic. You will not live like a normal girl. And even my brother is a geologist. He told me, don't go there. You will lose your life. So by the
How many hours you spent in researching?
I don't know. I didn't feel that I wasted my time. It was enjoyable. You know, when you ask a basketball player or a football player, do you enjoy your work? It tells you that this is my work and my joy.
The person told me whenever you don't feel the time is passing by, then this is your right job.
Yes, this is the right job. I don't feel that I wasted my time. I don't feel that there is a lost time from my life. I feel that I made accomplishment, and it is beautiful that you do the job that you love. I love teaching, and I love nuclear physics. I love physics. This is the subject that I love. I love art, and I love painting, but I feel that you know, as if you are eating a beautiful chocolate and you say, it tastes nice. When I see an equation, I see this is a beautiful equation. I see that this is beautiful.
Aren't they two different walks of life, arts and science?
No, you know, lots of scientists are known to be painters and pianists. Fermi and Dirac, they used to play piano.
Or is it a sort of stress breaker?
It is a stress breaker, but I consider that because scientists are more enclosed to their inner life, they don't go into the society, so they tend to enhance their skills. So one of the skills, they would like to be painters or
is it
pianists.
Common among scientists?
Yes, I actually one of my professors who used to taught for me thermodynamics, he used to play violin and piano. And Einstein used to play violin, and there are two of most famous physicists who used to play piano, and some of them were painters. So it is common among scientists. Probably you'll find this among biologists.
How did you manage to divide your time among all these hobbies and your work and
I didn't waste my time on non-efficient things.
I'm not talking about wasting time, about
I
dividing time and classifying.
I was blessed, so I was given the everything next to me. One of my neighbors was an art director, and I had all the books coming. He had all the books about art and music, and he used to play violin and piano. He used to play actually 3 instruments. So he was also an engineer, and in the same an art director, and he played music. So I had all his collection of the history of civilization.
So you enjoyed doing them all together?
I enjoyed them, and I had another neighbor who was a cartoonist, and he was. I used to see all the cartoonists and read about. The art director was not a politician, but the cartoonist was a politician. So I also had the politics coming to me next to my door, on the right-hand side and on the left-hand side.
You spearheaded the creation of the Special Center for Nuclear Physics.
Yes.
What was the story behind creating this?
I returned from the United States on 2002 after the September 11th, and I felt that I don't want to stay there anymore because I missed my country, and I didn't like the status of hate at that time that they had towards Muslims and Arabs. And though I didn't.
So you decided to come back to
yes,
Egypt? And
I didn't feel any discrimination. I had to tell the
your
truth.
Own business
I was working with a very good director of the department who was a Jewish Orthodox, and he understand what is Islam and everything. And I didn't face any problems from my colleagues, but it was the state of the society.
Yeah.
So I returned, and at that time, I returned to take my promotion also and work, and I was
happy. In fact,
happy.
it was the societies outside that were rejecting the Muslims.
They were rejecting. There was like a
They
lot
were
of,
afraid, maybe.
I couldn't call my son at that time Mohammed on the street, and my son is like, he had green eyes, and you know, he's like has like
European features.
Yeah, European features. But I didn't like this to call my son Dudu instead of telling him Mohammed.
It's a matter of identity.
It's a matter of identity, and what made me a little bit feel upset that one of my colleagues was a Sikh, and he was attacked because he was wearing a turban. He was attacked on the street. And another one of my Kurdish friends, he was working in the same department as a mathematician. His wife was attacked on the street, and I could hear plenty of stories. I used to have like the Arab Council.
What's your message to foreigners or Europeans, Americans who have Muslims or Arab friends or neighbors?
At that time, or
at that time and now?
At that time, they didn't understand, but
what's the message you direct for them?
I actually was one of the few Arabs and Muslims who read Quran on the mass after the September 11th, and I read the 3 last parts of the Surah Al-Baqarah. I wanted to know that God, in our religion, we believe in God and all His messengers, and we do not differentiate between others. And what happened is not because this was a Muslim or anything. This was a terrorist. A terrorist could kill anyone of at any place.
Doctor, what about you consider were keys to your success?
What created my success?
Yeah.
My perseverance. Whenever people usually, when they get obstacles, they break down and cry. I cry, but I remember I was told when the catastrophe that wouldn't kill you would make you stronger. So I learned this from the beginning. Whenever someone would try to intimidate me, I just become like the cat. I become more aggressive and defend myself. And I learned that I only regret the things that I didn't resist to get. So whenever I do a mistake, I just remember that I did a mistake and just I correct my path. So the good thing is that I try to be very persistent in my way, and whenever I fall, I'm not maybe the most intelligent or the most lucky, but I maybe a very persistent person.
You changed your career and made a specific turn in your life, leaving nuclear physics to the applications of nuclear physics. How was that? And let's get a little bit into the fact of differentiation between nuclear physics and its applications.
I was working with, as I said, with equations, and
this is nuclear physics.
Yes, equations, just solving equation, me and the book and the computer. And as soon as I started, teaching other courses, when I returned to Egypt, I started to teach for biophysicists.
What made you quit this?
You
were fed up.
I was fed up of doing the same amount of work and just being doing
stuck among books and
yes,
computers.
Only stuck among books, and I want to do something useful. So I was appointed from the university director as the coordinator of nuclear science and safety in the university. So I found a lot of applications that we use in the microscopes and others. So I knew that we need to teach people radiation protection. So I came along that we are doing mistakes with the human being and they need protection. So I learned